So good morning. Nice to see you. Nice to have you. Today, another great class. We are going to be working our way up the body as we have been for the last 9 weeks. Today's week 9 of 10. Started with the toes, ankles, the knees, the hips, the spine. I think we did different parts of the spine. I can't even remember anymore. But today we're going to be focusing on the shoulders. So articulation of the shoulders, movement of the upper chest as well. And really fun class. Today we're going to need blocks, as always, and a strap, not as always, and a bolster, just for fun. So if you have a bolster, great. If you don't have a bolster, a blanket is good. Just something like this that's kind of got weight on it. Needs to be a little bit weighted. Bolster is better. Maybe a pillow from your sofa, but bolsters are good. If you are practicing yoga and you love yoga, invest in bolsters and straps and blocks. That's all I can say. And otherwise, we will begin. And let's just start that you find that comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you, whether you're seated upright, allowing your hips to lift, allowing your pelvis to tilt. When you do that, your shoulders stack over your hips. There's more ease. And I always say, find comfort in all of your postures, even when they're challenging. Where can you find the most comfort even when there's challenge? So find your comfortable seated position, and I invite you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and take a moment just to notice what you've brought with you to the mat this morning. Notice how your breath is. Notice what thoughts are reeling through your mind. Notice any sensations in the body. And notice if there's any distractions from anything that's occurred this morning that you're also bringing with you, your to-do list, your next appointment. Shut the door to the day and allow these next 90 minutes to be yours. In this series, Blossom, Bloom, and Flow is all about planting the seed, planting your intention. Each practice, we plant that seed, how we want to show up that day, to what we want to reach, achieve, acquire. Every day looks different. And as we set these intentions in each practice, we are giving ourselves this opportunity to grow, to transform, to change week by week. Creating memory of muscles in the body, neural pathways, so that we build on what we learn. So let's bring the hands together in front of the heart and just set your intention for today. Plant the seed so it can blossom, so it can bloom, and you can show up the way you desire. Breathe into that. Come back into presence. Be still. And we'll lift that intention with one sound of Om. So if you choose to join me, take a nice full inhale here, filling the lungs, filling the chest. Empty it out by sighing and just cleansing any stuck energy. And we'll begin with one sound of Om, inhaling together. Empty all the way out with your sound and with a nice, easy inhale. Fill the lungs again. And with a nice, relaxed exhale, release the hands down, empty the lungs, blink the eyes open, come back into space, come back into this moment. And we're going to start today just by staying seated. If you are seated on something, especially a block. If you're on a blanket, it might be fine, but remove anything so that you've got a little bit more freedom to roll without a bulky block underneath you. And then just come back into a seated position. We're just going to start by just getting movement into the hips, hands on your knees, and just start rolling, Sufi rolls, and start to synchronize your breath with the movement. So as you inhale, lean forward, and as you exhale, drop back. Close your eyes and drop into the feeling, the sensations of the body. Close your eyes, again, if that feels right for you, so you can listen to what your body is asking for, what it needs, what it's saying to you, what's showing up. Take that movement in the opposite direction. And again, get curious, observe if slow is what you need, if a little bit quicker is what you need. And then while you're making these movements, start to get creative as well. Roll the neck, roll the shoulders a little bit. It doesn't have to be stagnant. It doesn't have to be really stable. Let it flow. And then come back through center. And then root down. So again, this practice is all about rooting to rise. We started with the feet. We're feeling stable and grounded, working our way up our body and rising. So feel that foundation even seated. Root the sits bones down, and then get your crown, the crown of your head, to reach to the sky. Feel this energy both lifting and rooting. And then through this straight spine, just start to articulate the movement in the shoulders. So today we're focusing on the shoulders, the neck, the upper back, the upper chest. And just notice as you make these rolls, what's here, what's sticking, what side feels tighter than the other. Take these rolls back in the opposite direction. We're going to get into more detail with the articulation of the shoulders very shortly. We're just sort of lubricating the body as we come. Take your wrists together and make some nice swirls into the wrists, pressing each wrist and palm into the hands, into one another. So you're getting a little bit of force. Take that in the opposite direction. See if your brain allows you to do that. I find my brain takes me in one direction with much more ease than the other. And then pop the fists away. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears, and imagine your hands are pressing into the wall in front of you. Feel that nice length from the shoulder, the elbows, the wrists pressing away. And then take the arms up to the sky. And as you take the arms to the sky, just notice how your spine is. Are you letting your ribs flare out? Can you gently just tuck your pelvis so that your ribs don't flare out, but you're still finding this beautiful extension at the front of your chest? But it's controlled, softening. And again, your palms are pressing into the ceiling. See that your neck is free here. You're not crunching up so tightly that you've got no space for the neck. Let's just release the arms shoulder height. And again, press both palms, get your fingertips to the sky, and feel that nice stretch. It's an extension of the wrist. Set your right hand to the floor and take your left arm up and over. As you come into this extension, press that right hand deeply into the mat so that you're growing that left side a little bit more. Fingertips want to touch the wall. If you've got a bend in your elbow, straighten your arms so that there's no bend in your elbow, so you're getting more reach. And then find your end range, whatever that looks like. Breathe here, gaze to your palm, and then gaze down to the floor. So you're starting to get a little bit of movement through the neck. And see that the breath is still flowing while you are turning your head. Exhale finally to look down to the floor and lift your arms back up through center. And then exhale, bring your arms shoulder height. This time, just keep your fingers long. And we're going to just externally rotate the right arm, internally rotate the left arm, look to the right hand, and then opposite rotation and look to the left side. Inhaling and exhaling. And now we're really just focusing on this rotation, internal and external rotation of the shoulders. And then just letting the head follow the lead of the arms. Let the breath synchronize here. And just notice maybe those muscles, the shoulders are getting a little fatigued. That's okay. We want that. A little bit of controlled stress in our body is always good. Let's do 5 more on each side. 4 more. Nice and slow. Let the breath create this balance in the body so that we stay nice and calm. 2 more. And 1 more on each side. Look right, look left. And then set the left hand to the floor. The right arm reaches up and over. And as that right arm reaches up and over, press that left hand deeply into the mat so that your right sits bones are still grounding. And that right arm is reaching. Imagine your fingertips want to tickle the wall. And then take your gaze down to the mat. Take your gaze up to the sky. Again, these gentle motions of the neck. See that there's not too much strain in the neck, that the movement is gliding. And if there's little clicks and clacks without any pain, then just continue to move. And if there's any pain, then be really gentle. Don't move it further. And then finally, look down to your hand. Use your inhale breath, lift yourself back up. And let's come into a twist. The left hand outside the right knee, and then the right hand behind you. Once again, lift the chest, rotate on this axis. I'm going to use my hand to pull onto my outer leg to create a deeper rotation. So find the length, find the breath, inhaling. And each time you exhale, can you just find a little bit more torque, but without forcing? Inhaling and exhaling. While you're twisting, put your attention on your breath. Feel your belly rise, feel your ribcage expand. And each time you exhale, maybe you look over your shoulder a little bit further. Take 1 more like that here. Exhaling, and then release both arms back through center. Reach up nice and long. Feel the obliques. And then exhale as twist in the opposite direction. Right hand outside the left knee. And the left hand is behind you. I'm tenting my fingers, so I'm pressing deeply into the mat. And find that there's an external rotation of your left shoulder. You're pressing that shoulder head back. Spine is long, the crown of the head lifts to the sky, and the gaze goes as far back as the gaze can go, likewise with the neck, without forcing. Bring your awareness to your breath. Inhale, feel your belly rise, feel your rib cage widen. And each time you exhale, can you look over that shoulder a little bit more? Inhaling, make it easy, make it full. And exhaling. 1 more like that. Use your right hand against your knee to really pull so that you feel a nice stretch over your right shoulder as well. And then with the next inhale, take the arms back up through center. And exhale the hands to the sides. Set the hands slowly behind you. And as the hands set behind you, take the fingertips facing back so that you are lifting your chest. Your palms can be on the floor or your fingertips can be on the floor. Once again, it's an external rotation. You're creating space in the front of your chest, widening the collarbones. Inhale, just lift the heart here. And exhale, hold. Take another breath, inhale, lift the heart here. And hold. If you want to take it a little bit wider on this one, maybe your whole hands come to the floor, press into the mat. Maybe your sits bones will release from the mat. Doesn't have to be. So listen to your body. Maybe your head sinks back and rests into the flesh of the shoulders and the neck. Take 1 more breath. Regardless where your pose ends up being, exhale. If your hips are lifted, set them back down. And then let's round the spine. Have your hands on your knees and just come into a really nice cat pose here. Pull on those legs and just rest here, taking 3 big breaths into the back of the lungs. Let your head be heavy. Soften the jaw. And feel that nice stretch over the shoulders, over the back of the neck. And then slowly come back up. Beautiful. And then take your hands behind you. Once again, take your knees and your knees bent and your heels into the floor. And just do some windshield wipers. So just coming into the lower body a little bit more, waking up the joints through the hips, maybe the knees, maybe the ankles. Notice what you're noticing. Beautiful. And then before we lay down on our back, grab your block, one of your blocks, and set the block on the widest point. So the widest space of the block between the feet, and the same wideness between your thighs and your knees. And then grab your bolster, see that it's nearby or handy, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to start to lower down and see if you can lower down as slow motion as you can. And the way you go down slow motion is by rounding the back. Round the back once again, round the back even more, round the back even more. Slow motion. Squeeze the blocks between your feet and your knees as you meet the mat. And then bend your knees a little bit more, and we're going to just grab the bolster and set the hands so that they are pressing the bolster to the sky. And we're going to just do a little bit of movement in the shoulders. So imagine you want to press the bolster to the sky. You're going to feel your shoulder blades and your shoulders come off the mat. Feel that those shoulder blades are being pulled apart. You're going to feel a nice widening of the back of the back, the back of your side of your body, okay? And then can you press your shoulders back down to the mat and somewhat feel your shoulder blades come together as you're kind of pinching back down to the floor. Inhale, lift back up, pulling the shoulder blades apart, and exhale, let the shoulder blades and the shoulders press back down. It's kind of a little bit of a crunch here. Press back forward again and hold here, and then just take your knees and your feet off the mat. Okay, so just continue to squeeze the block. And now I want you to round your lumbar spine so much so that you're not allowing any air or light to come between your back, your lumbar spine, your lumbar back, your lower back, and the mat. So you're feeling your core muscles turn on here. Continue to squeeze the blocks. And as we do that, we're going to inhale. Can you keep your arms straight and take them overhead? Doesn't matter how far they go, take them to your end range. Maybe the arms go to the ears. And then exhale, bring them back up so the hands are right over your shoulders. Take the arms back as far, keeping the arms straight so you're feeling that weight on your hands. Continue to press your lower back into the mat as you take your arms forward. So here we're getting into a flexion of the shoulders. It's a reaching the arms up and back. How far do your shoulders allow that lengthening to go? Take it one more time. Press the lumbar back into the mat. Feel the core squeeze as the arms go up and over, and then end up with your hands right over your shoulders once again. Beautiful. Just pause here for a moment. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the legs and start to extend the legs and start to extend the arms. Find your end range. It could just be a little bit of movement, but can you keep your lower back pressing into the mat? So don't exceed it so that your lower back lifts. So this feels like it's going to be a core practice, which it's not, but we are working on the core. And then continue to just do 2 or 3 more of these, reaching your arms overhead, your legs long, and then come back, stacking shoulder and hips. Beautiful. And then gently take the feet back down and release the bolster to the floor. Beautiful. We're going to, let's remove the blocks too, because we'll be able to get up with a little bit more ease. Bring the knees into the chest, make a few little circles on your spine, and just welcome that nice heat into the core, both directions. Grab behind your knees and keep your back nice and round. So you're in a cat back and you're rolling. It's going to make the roll so much easier. Roll up and down a few times. And then cross your feet at the ankles and roll all the way over your feet. Sending your knees underneath your hips, your hands underneath your shoulders. So we're going to come back to, actually, let's do this first. Come back to sitting on your heels. If you want to challenge your feet a little bit more, you can tuck the toes under, just giving the feet the opportunity to wake up as well. And we're going to just imagine that the hands are set on a shelf right in front of us, okay? See that again, you're not letting your hips sink back and you're not going into banana back, but you're finding that gentle pelvic tilt so your core feels gently engaged and your hands are just set on a shelf. We're going to bring the awareness to the shoulders, so bring the shoulders up to the ears. This is called elevation. And the hands aren't moving. And then we're gonna just bring the shoulders back as though you're gonna pinch the shoulder blades together. So what we gently did when we were on our back. Okay, so feel the shoulder blades pinch together. Now press the shoulders away from the ears. So you're feeling a depression. And now pull the shoulders forward. So you're pulling the shoulder blades away from one another. Let's do that again. Shoulders lift up, elevation. Shoulder blades pinch together. Retraction, shoulder blades press down, depression, and protraction as they come forward. And I'll let it flow up, back, down, and forward. And see that they almost become like a locomotion steam engine, where just the shoulder heads are creating this movement and the arms are staying relatively static. Take it in the opposite direction, shoulders up, forward, down, and back. So just getting lubrication of the shoulders and feeling those muscles maybe start to fatigue. That's okay. And then exhale, set the arms down, shake out the shoulders, shake out the elbows, shake out the wrists a little bit. Oh, I'm gonna make some circles in the wrists just before we set them to the mat. Uncurl the toes if they were curled and tap the feet. Beautiful. Hands are underneath your shoulders. Once again, we're going to do that same thing. Let's do a few cat-cows before we do that. We're dialing the hands away from one another. When we do this, we're creating tension and torque in the arms. We're also creating compression as we press into the mat. And then we are bringing the shoulders down and back along the spine as well. It's going to allow us to lift the heart and find space in the front of the chest, the collarbones widen, and continue to push away and dial the hands away from one another as you round the spine. Inhale and lift the heart. And exhale, round the back. So as we lift the heart, do you feel your shoulder blades come together? And as we exhale round the spine, do you feel the shoulder blades pull apart? Let's do that one more time with more awareness. And exhaling, rounding the spine. And we're going to do that same articulation of the shoulders with our hands now pressing into the mat. So it's a closed chain. Before our hands were on an imaginary shelf, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to roll the shoulders away from the ears, so depression. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together, so you're going to feel your chest drop. You're going to pull the shoulder blades away from the ears. And then push the floor away, pulling the shoulder blades apart. So hopefully that makes sense. So lift the shoulders, press the shoulders back, roll the shoulders down, and pull the shoulders forward. And now instead of focusing on the shoulders, focus on the shoulder blades as you continue these movements, as the shoulder blades pull apart and push together. And as you pull the shoulders up and down, they stay somewhat neutral. So again, it's a locomotion movements where the shoulders are just rolling. Do that in the opposite direction. And again, my shoulders are really getting tired, all the muscles, but that's good. And then exhale, send the hips back, come into child's pose, and take a little pause. Take your arms along the sides of your body and let the shoulders be heavy. Let them be just surrendered. Let your hands and your elbows drop deeply. And just feel the vibrations of that movement. Maybe you're feeling your neck a lot, as well as your upper back, and hopefully into your arms and your wrists as well. Beautiful. And then gently take your arms overhead once again. We're going to tuck the toes under. And as you tuck the toes under, take a moment here to press your hands forward so that you're sending your butt over your heels even more, and start to feel a nice stretch through the soles of the feet and rock your heels from left to right. And just start to feel the ankles get a nice waking up. And in this pose, this is the blueprint for our downward dog. Okay, child's pose is a blueprint for downward dog. Spread your fingers nice and wide. And I want you to continue to push your hands forward. And all we're going to do is start to lift the knees off the floor. Okay, you're going to feel your core and your quad muscles turn on a little bit. And then keep your spine straight and continue to start to lengthen your legs. And all you're doing is using your legs to come back into downward dog. Your spine is still a nice long line. Let's bend the knees again and come back into child's pose. You're still pressing your hands deeply into the mat, so you're controlling this slow movement. Let your knees drop down. And then once again, we'll lift back up by pressing the hands forward. Start to let the knees hover, and then start to lift the knees more and more and more as the butt lifts up high, coming into downward dog. Give your head a little shake here, or make big circles, or yes and no of the head. And then start to welcome movement into the legs, pedaling left and right. And while you are pedaling your legs, be really present in your body, in the back side of your body. Feel soles of your feet, your heels, your ankles, your calves. Feel the stretch behind the knees. Start to feel it up into the hamstrings, into the sits bones. Let the head be free. Know that there's never any effort that the head needs to do. And then dial your hands away from one another. Make it that your thumb and your first finger have more weight than any other part of your hand. Beautiful. And then we're going to just lift that right leg. Get extension to the right side of the body. Get really, really long. So your hands are pressing deeply into the mat, sending your right leg behind you. Can you look down and see that your toe, your knee, and your hip bone are pointing to the floor? And then from here, stay really static in your legs. All we're going to do is shift the shoulders by bringing your shoulders over your wrists, coming into a three-legged kind of high plank. And then send the arms back, the shoulders back, coming to three-legged dog. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, come forward. Dial the hands away from one another. Feel really strong here. Exhale, send the leg back, the hips back. 1 more time, like this. Inhaling, dial the hands, press into the mat, and then exhale, send the legs long, the leg long, the arms long, the spine long. Exhale, lower that right leg to the floor. Pedal the legs out again. Let's bend in the knees a lot and turn the feet to the left and bend the knees a lot. Once again, we're getting into a lateral stretch here. You should feel the left side of your body lengthen. Come back through center, turn the feet to the right and bend the knees a lot. Press your right hip to the sky and feel the right side of your body lengthen. Come back through center, set the knees to the floor, and come into child's pose. Bring your arms back. Let the shoulders, the arms, the wrists surrender. Maybe your hips can sink back over your heels a little bit more now. Take a few breaths, feel the vibrations, maybe even make some circles in your wrists. And we're going to just come back to the second side momentarily, but just let everything flush through the body. Maybe you want to rock your head here again. Just let the neck feel this sense of freedom. And let's continue on by reaching the arms forward again. Spread your fingers wide, and even here, create this energy of the hands dialing away from one another. You should feel it all up your arms, this spiral of rotation, and then tuck your toes under. And then we're going to do the same thing. Just lift the knees off the floor, hover. You're going to feel those quadriceps turn on, and then slowly, slowly, slowly start to extend your legs. Your spine is always long. We're going to lift the left leg. Lift that leg behind you, and see that you have a nice squared pelvis. So the toes and the knee and the hip bone are pointing to the floor. You can point that foot, you can flex that foot, see what feels right for you. You can even have your right knee bent, right? There's no rules with the legs. Just want the hips to be squared and the spine to be long. We're going to come into that little plank transition. So slowly start to shift forward so your shoulders come over your wrists. Three-legged plank, high plank here. And exhale, send the arms long again, send the leg behind you. Inhale, dial the hands away from another. Feel the strength in your arms, feel the strength in your core. Come into this high plank. Exhale, send the leg long. Feel the strength. You're pushing the mat away from you. One last time, shoulders over the wrists. I'm dialing out the whole time. Exhale, send the leg long. Lower that left leg nice and slowly to the mat. And let's pedal the feet, little baby steps. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Feel your feet meet the hands at the top of the mat. Bend into your knees as much as you need to. Grab onto your opposite elbows. Oh, and dangle it out. Shake it out. Feel A release in the neck, in the shoulders, in the arms, in the spine. And then try to transfer a little bit more weight into the front of your feet, almost so you feel like you're off balance, you might fall. But then you're dialing your feet away from one another. Your feet are perfectly parallel. And I'm turning my feet externally as though I want to imagine my heels coming together, but they won't come together. Feel that activity spiral up your legs, around your knees, up your thighs, into your sits bones, into your glutes, into your pelvic floor, and then let your arms dangle. And as your arms dangle, start to lift up one vertebrae at a time, but feel that the effort is coming from this organization and activation from your feet. The more you press into the mat and dial out, that is what's giving you this opportunity, one vertebrae at a time, to lift up. Feel the vertebrae stack up your back, and your head slowly comes up last. Inhale, take your arms to the sky. And exhale, hands in front of your heart, and just pause for a moment. And if you put in the effort, the activation here, you will feel your body vibrating. And if you didn't, that's fine too. You'll still feel something. And over time, your nervous system will learn what it needs to be feeling and how it will react and respond. And this is where adaptation takes place, where we start to change. So just notice how your stance is. Are you stable here? Still root down in your feet, dial your feet away from one another. Feel this beautiful spiral up the legs into your pelvic floor. You're going to allow those hips, once again, to find the external rotation. So you're not standing in banana back, but you're standing really solid, rooted down, stacking all the vertebrae. And then just roll the shoulders up, down, and back. We're going to take the strap right to begin. Make the strap relatively short. So I have mine folded. So there's 4 straps on top of one another. So I don't have the strap wide. They're just a little bit wider than my shoulders. And then I'm going to dial, root, and rise. So I'm going to see that my feet are organized and activated. And I'm going to take the arms up and over. And see if you can get the arms to the ears. If that's not possible, then they're going to be a little bit more in front. That's perfectly fine as well. But find your end range. Well, your end range would be way back here if it could be. But see if the end point would be with your hands, arms by your ears. Okay. And then pull the strap apart. Imagine that you want to rip the strap. Feel how your core turns on when you do this. Feel how stable you are from the feet up. And take a big breath. See that you're not flaring your ribs because you're activating and organizing the feet. That pelvis tilts, so it's stabilizing the core. And then take one more breath, reaching the arms a little higher to the sky. And then exhale, release the arms down in front, and then just shake it out a little bit. The shoulders jostle, let the lymph flush. Okay, your lymph nodes help us flush the toxins through our body, and it only works when we move. So it doesn't work otherwise. So that's why movement is so essential. And then take the arms back up. And then we're going to pull the strap apart once again and feel that you're organized and activated, really stable on your foundation. And we're just going to come in a nice lateral stretch here. As you lean to the right, I'm leaning to the right. Unless you're mirroring me, you can do what you want. But I'm going to say I lean to the right, put a little bit more weight in your left foot. And at the same time, I am still pulling the straps, that one strap, and so I want to rip it. Again, find your place where it's enough strength to be used. Don't overdo it. And then use your breath to lift yourself back up to center. We're going to come right with the other side. So again, you're dialing your feet away from one another, creating that stability, and lengthen to the left. Keep those arms straight. There's no bend in the arms, and you're just reaching. And your end range may look like this. It may look like this. It may be even more, but don't overdo it. Okay. I am pulling the strap apart. Again, getting activation through the shoulders, getting all the blood to flush through the joint and all the tissue. Root a little bit more into the right foot, and then use your core, inhaling, lift back up. Ooh, and exhale, release slowly and controlled, release the strap. Let's drop the strap for now. And once again, just flush the lymph, but feel that surrendering, that really nice relaxation in the shoulders as well, the elbows into the hands. It should feel really good. Feels good for me anyway. And let's come to the top of the mat again, okay? So we're gonna continue working with this articulation of the shoulders throughout the practice. Inhaling, take the arms all the way up. Find your solid foundation, root to rise, and then exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips. Set your hands by your feet, bending your knees as much as you need to, lifting up halfway. This becomes a gentle back bend. Can you feel the shoulder blades come together? This is called a retraction. We're really opening up the chest to squeeze those shoulder blades. Feel the elbows come together. Exhale, let's release the hands to the mat again and feel a protraction. You're pulling the shoulder blades apart once again. Take 2 big steps back into plank. And come to plank. You can either set your knees to the floor, but if you set your knees to the floor, stay in this plank position. Don't let your butt come back. Stay long so that you want to imagine you're pressing your pubic bone to the floor. Okay, so your choice with knees on or off, or you can set your knees down anytime. Press deeply into the hands. Dial the hands away from one another. Feel how the core turns on to create this stability in this plank pose. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull the shoulders up to the ears. Then I'm going to press away a little bit more to pull the shoulder blades away from one another. Then I'm going to pull the shoulder blades, the shoulders away from the ears. And then I'm going to sink a little bit, bring the shoulder blades together. Okay, shoulder blades pull up to the ears. The shoulders pull up to the ears. The shoulder blades are neutral. Shoulders roll forward and pulling the shoulder blades apart. Then let the shoulders pull away from the ears. And then let the shoulders press back so the shoulder blades come together. Let's set the knees to the floor and come into child's pose. Regardless whether your knees were on the floor or not, sink back. So just bringing the awareness, these subtleties of the shoulders and how it helps us to move in through different postures. You might want to make some circles with your wrists. Anytime we come and pause, we've been on our wrists for a while, it's a good opportunity. And take your arms forward again. Come forward, keep your knees on the floor, and come into, we're going to just rev. So revving means that we are priming our fascia. We are waking up our fascia. So send the hips back, send the hips forward. Continue to keep your arms strong and dialed out. And so that you're feeling contraction, you're feeling your arms activate. Beautiful. Do that a few times. And now we're going to come to lower down, just as we would in chaturanga, or it's just we lower down as a reverse push-up. Let's start with our knees on the floor, and we'll progress through the practice. If you want to take your knees off the floor, dial your hands away from one another, really press the mat away. Then as I lower down, I am bending my elbows back and towards my body, and feel the shoulder blades start to pinch together as you lower down, and then lower all the way down and relax. We're going to lift back up by pushing into the mat. Press your pubic bone towards the floor so your core starts to strengthen. And as you press back, you're pulling your shoulder blades away from one another. Let's do 2 more of those. Lower down, little baby push-ups, lower halfway, and then start to feel your shoulder blades pinch together. And then press back up, pulling the shoulder blades apart. 1 more, exhale, lower down. And inhale, lift back up. Send your hips back, come into child's pose. Rock your hips from side to side. Rotate the wrists, both directions. Again, you can have your arms along your torso or overhead. And then let everything be limp and heavy. Let your shoulders drop heavily. Let your elbows drop heavily. Maybe rocking feels good. And even turning your head from side to side. See that your neck has the freedom to move. Let's take the arms overhead once again. Tuck the toes under, come into downward dog. And again, remembering pressing the hands into the mat, dialing them away from one another. Feel what happens in the shoulders. Feel the shoulders press away from the ears when you dial your hands away from one another. Let's lift the right leg, 3-legged dog. Bend that right knee. We're going to just come into the hips here. So let the hips start to stack. Imagine your right knee wants to open up to the sky, and then gaze to the left side. Maybe you see your foot dangling there. Can you press your right shoulder towards the floor? So you're not opening up the front of your body, we're just opening up the back of the body. Inhaling, come back, square the hips, extend your right leg, and lower the foot to the floor. Do the same thing on the other side, left leg lifts. Slow motion, we're not in a rush. Bend the knee, and then slowly open up the hip, whatever that is for you, okay? Can you still keep your arms long and strong? It's still a downward dog. And then let that foot drop to the right side of the mat. Maybe you see the foot as you gaze to the right, under your armpit or over your arm. See what feels more natural. Beautiful. And press your left shoulder or your armpit towards the floor. And then inhaling, square the hips again. Send your left leg behind you, lower the foot to the floor. We're going to set that right foot to the top of the mat now. So lift your right foot, bend your knee, round your spine, bring your shoulders over the wrists. Can you feel that protraction in your back? Shoulder blades are pulling apart, and then set your right foot to the inside of your right hand. Your left knee drops. Inhale, lift up, Anjaneyasana. As you come into this low lunge, once again, no banana back. Feel your pelvis tilt, your pubic bone, and your sternum. Want to find that gentle zipping up the front of the body. And then from here, I'm going to take my right arm underneath my left arm, coming into Gomukhasana, arms, crisscross. And again, can you feel your shoulder blades pull apart? Start to round your spine, draw your navel in. Dial your right foot out so that you have balance and stability under your legs. And then inhale, lift back up. And then start to find an extension of your heart. Maybe start to feel your shoulder blades come together a little bit. Exhale around the spine, really pressing the elbows into one another, really widening the shoulder blades. Inhale, lift back up. Can you maybe feel the front of your heart open, the shoulder blades come together? Exhale around the spine one last time. Open the arms all the way up and come into cactus arms, squeezing the shoulder blades together. As you squeeze the shoulder blades together, bring the elbows forward. So you're feeling a gentle back bend or heart opener, feel the collarbones widen. And then inhaling, take the arms up, windmill the hands back down to the floor. Take your back knee off the floor, so give that extended leg a little bit of space and open up the right arm. Gaze to your thumb. While you are in this pose, see that your left shoulder is externally rotating. See that from the shoulder, you're creating space. It's going to give you way more stability, and you're going to be using less effort. Set the left hand behind the head and exhale your elbow to elbow. Come into a little twist here. Inhale, open up, gaze to the sky. Exhale, twist here slowly. Inhale, open up. If this feels too far away, that left hand can always come on a block. Open up and exhale, twist. And then finish up, take that right arm to the sky. And then we're just going to make some nice pars, some nice shoulder articulation rotations. So feel that whole joint glide. Take it in the opposite direction. Set the hand back down. Send your right leg back, three-legged dog. And exhale, lower the foot to the floor. Set your knees to the floor and give yourself a little pause once again. Rock your hips from side to side. Let your shoulders be dead weight. Feel how the shoulder blades pull apart. Maybe you want to rotate your wrists and come back to your breath. See that your breath is balanced, controlled, slow, always keeping you in a nice rest and relaxation state. Parasympathetic breath, nervous system. Take your arms overhead once again. Let's come onto the second side, downward dog. Inhale your left leg, three-legged dog. Look down the leg and see that your foot, your knee, and your hip are pointing towards the floor, squaring off that pelvis. Beautiful. And then pull the left knee to your nose, around your back. Shoulders come over your wrists and feel the shoulder blades pulling apart. Really, really round, round, round. And then set your left foot to the inside of your left hand. Drop your right knee. Anjaneyasana, come up nice and slowly. Once again, bring the awareness to your pelvis. Find that gentle pelvic tilt, then sink into your front knee so you've got stability. My left knee is dialing out, my foot is dialing out, creating stability back into the pelvis. My hips are aligned. And then bringing your left arm this time underneath your right arm, and then inhaling the elbows nice and high. So inhale, let's just find an extension, lifting the heart, and then exhale, staying stable in the legs, around the spine, draw the navel in, pull the shoulder blades apart. Inhale, lift all the way up, and exhale around the spine. Use your breath, find the Ujjayi breath if that feels aligned for you. Inhale, lift up, elbows lift, heart opens, and exhale around the spine. On the next inhale, take the arms up, open them up, and wind them into cactus arms. Squeezing the shoulder blades behind you, lifting the heart. Feel the collarbones widen, soften the jaw. And then with the next inhale, take the arms to the sky, windmill the arms. Right hand comes to the floor. Maybe it comes on a block. Maybe your right knee stays on the floor. Maybe it lifts up. Left arm opens up. And all the while, I am dialing my right arm all the way from the shoulder externally. So I'm creating a little bit more stability, actually a lot more stability. So now I'm rooting down over my wrists, but it's the whole shoulder, it's the torso, everything's turning on to work together. Imagine your left hand is pressing into a wall. So feel activity in that left shoulder as well. And then we're going to take the hand behind the ear or behind the head. Exhale, come into these little rotations, elbow to elbow, and then inhale, open up. Exhaling, twisting, a little crunch here, and inhale, open up. Exhale, 3, twist, crunch, and open up. Extend your left arm to the sky and make some nice rotations from the shoulder. Beautiful, slow motion. In one direction, 3 ways, and in the opposite direction, 3 ways. Remember, your right knee can always come down to the mat. Use your breath to create balance in your system. Set your left hand down to the floor. Send your left leg back behind you. Lower the foot to the floor. And this time, walk your hands to the back of the mat and just dangle forward fold. Uttanasana. Grab onto your opposite elbows. Let the weight drop into the front of your feet. Let your head be free. Maybe give it a yes and a no or some circles. Let your shoulders be free. Sometimes I just like to rock a little bit or bounce and just feel the release. This is traction of the spine. Let gravity do its thing. Beautiful. One more breath here. And then slowly set your hands back down to the mat. Walk your arms forward. Beautiful. Take 2 big steps now, but this time our feet are going to go outside of the right hand, outside of the left hand, and come into Malasana. So we want to get into the hips. We want this to be a full balance practice, not just our shoulders. Work that the feet are generally working their way towards being parallel. They don't have to be 100% parallel, but over time, that's what we want to work towards. It's going to strengthen all the tissues, tendons, the ligaments, and the muscles up the foot and the leg. So I'm still dialing my feet away from one another. They're still pressing out. My heels are coming in. I'm feeling my knees press away from one another. So I don't necessarily need my elbows to push my knees away because it's automatically turned on. You can press your hand, you can set your elbows into your knees, but let the legs be doing all the work. We're just going to come into a twist here. Let your left hand come to the floor. Let your right arm open. So it becomes a twist of the spine, but find that your right shoulder externally rotates. We're opening up the shoulder. Maybe you gaze to the thumb. Maybe the arm is lower. It doesn't matter, but see that there's no bend in the arm. Find your end range, whatever that might be. Exhale the hands back to center. Ground through your feet, and then take your right arm, pressing that right knee away. So that's what's going to help keep the hips widening. Take the left arm up and open. Gaze to the thumb, soften the jaw, inhale. And exhale. Pull up on your pelvic floor. See that you're engaged in Mula Bandha. Exhale, hands back in front of the heart. Woo. Exhale, hands on the mat. And start to let your head drop, let your hips lift. Once again, come into that forward fold, shimmy your feet together. We're at the top of the mat here. And again, dial your feet away from one another. Feel that there's always this stability, this energy turning on your feet. And then take the arms behind you like you are coming into reverse swan dive, externally rotating at the shoulders, and then pressing into the earth, letting the feet be that what lifts you up. The more you press, the more you rise. Root to rise, gaze to your thumbs, exhale, hands in front of your heart. And just come back into stillness for a moment. And just notice where the vibrations are. Are they in your hips? Are they in your upper back? In your shoulders, in your wrists, everywhere? And just feel that the heartbeat comes to a nice balance. And that means that your breath is at a nice balance. Top of your mat once again. Inhale, take the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. And as you are down here, grab the strap. If you have it nearby, take the strap nice and wide, bend into the knees, and come into Utkatasana. Take the strap up with you, and the strap's going to be nice and wide now. Okay, so feel that your feet are dialing out, creating stability. Beautiful. And then we're going to straighten the legs, so come all the way up to standing. We're going to extend the arms back behind us and just let it glide through. Inhale, take the arms back up. See that you don't fall into banana back. Exhale the arms forward. So as you take the arms back, I see sometimes this happening. See that you're still stable in your pelvis, and the arms come back. Inhale, lift back up, and exhale forward. What I want you to really focus on now, as you take the arms up and over, you are pulling the strap like you want to rip the strap. Start to feel a little bit more activity into the shoulders, into the arms. Send the arms back. Find that tightest part and hold here. That tightest part where it's always like tough to glide over. And then feel your arms pressing away. You're still really stable, dialing your feet away from one another, feeling that spiral line up your legs, your pelvic floor, your core's turned on. Let's exhale the arms behind us a little bit more deeply, whatever that might look like. And then inhale up and over. And then just pause for a moment. Just have the strap relax. Have your shoulders relax. And just even coming into this default stand that we want to come into. Our feet just gently dialing it out. It doesn't have to be overdone, but feel the activity, energy in your legs, creating stability. Feel your pelvic floor turn on. See that you're not sticking your butt out. You've got that gentle pelvic tilt. And when you're standing normal, our normal stance is with our shoulders just slightly forward. We just don't want to have this. We want to have our chest lifted and our shoulders just natural. You can externally rotate the shoulders and lift the chest a little bit more. It's not quite as natural, but it feels good. We're going to take the strap a little bit shorter, and we're going to just work it's kind of like we're scouring the shoulders. So we're going to bend the elbows and imagine this is a cloak, okay? And we're going to throw the cloak over our shoulders, bend the elbows, and then take the cloak back off. Do that a few times in one direction, and just notice again the clicking and clacking in the shoulders. Maybe it's gliding really nicely. Mine's not. Mine's really making a lot of noise. And then take it in the opposite direction. And see if you can get it to glide. Both arms are bent. And we're just, again, I call it scouring. We're taking calcium, the sticky stuff, and loosening it from the joint. It should feel really good. And then release the strap. And then set the strap back down, and we'll come back into chair pose. So come into forward fold. I like to touch the floor or just get my fingertips to the floor, just so that I get bent in my knees enough. And then from here, lift the chest once again. So the same thing we did without before, but now without the strap. Dial the feet away from one another. And feel whatever depth your knees allowed. I'm sinking the weight back into my heels, but I'm lifting my heart forward. And again, your end range, where do your arms go? See that you don't bend your arms, because then you're not getting into end range. End range, active. And then maybe the arms come to the ears, maybe they're in front of the ears, doesn't matter, but find your end range. And then see that your knees are dialing out, your heels are wanting to press together, but everything stays parallel. And then exhale, hands in front of the heart, forward fold, Uttanasana. Rock the hips from side to side. We're going to come into a nice twist here. I love this twist. Bend deeply into your left leg. Set your left hand underneath your heart. So not to the left foot, not to the right foot, set center. And you can have your left hand on the block. Okay, maybe the floor just feels a little too far away. You can have it at any height. And then we're going to take that right arm like a door. Inhale. Feel this external rotation. It's an external rotation of the shoulder. And I'm bending into my left knee, straightening my right leg. And I'm pressing deeply into that left hand. Okay. Transfer a little bit more weight into the front of your feet so that that left hand has more weight. Both feet are rooting into the mat. Your heels are pressing into the mat. And you're leaning forward. See that that left shoulder is externally rotating. You're not sinking and dropping in, putting your shoulder and your ear together, but externally rotating, creating space. Your right fingertips are tickling the ceiling. And then exhale, sets the right hand back down and switch sides. So now my right knee is going to bend, my left leg is going to straighten. See that you're not hyperextending the left leg. See that there's a gentle micro bend in that left leg. Press into that right hand, push the earth away so that you're creating space between the shoulder and the ear. And I'm dialing my hand so that the shoulder turns on. The left arm opens up to stack. And whether they stack or not, doesn't matter. See that your spine is straight. You're not rounding your back, but you're lifting your heart. So feel maybe a little bit that the shoulder blades are coming together. Okay? We're twisting here, so it's not fully. That left shoulder is going to come to center. Can you look to your thumb, or at least look to the sky? And breathe here. Take one more breath. Transfer a little bit more weight into the front of your feet, so you're putting more weight into your right hand. And then exhale, slowly reverse back down. Remove the block. Set it to the side. Rock your hips. Let your shoulders dangle. Let your head dangle. And then set your hands by your feet, taking 2 big steps back. Come into plank. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to come into downward dog. We're going to do the same articulation of the shoulders here. Can you push the mat away so your shoulders pull away from your ears? It's a depression. Okay. Can you let your heart sink so your shoulder blades come together? Can you now push into the mat so much that your shoulders and your ears come closer together? And then can you round your spine, upper spine, just enough so that your shoulders drop forward? And then can you find that motion a little bit more fluid? Just by staying in downward dog and let the shoulders glide. And I know that's challenging, so it doesn't matter what it looked like. From here, we're going to come back into plank. And again, set your knees to the floor if you wish. Dial the hands away from one another. And let your elbows draw down, back, and close to center. Then let your whole body rest to the floor. Beautiful. We're going to take the block in your hands, but don't hold the block with your thumbs. Just squeeze the block with both of your arms. So before we were pulling the strap, now we're going to be pushing on the block. See that your neck is long, and then just lift your right leg and find extension. Lift your left leg and find extension. And then see if you can get your big toes touching so your leg almost becomes one piece. Can you press your pubic bone into the mat? So already you're preparing your lumbar spine, feeling that pubic bone and your core muscles turn on. And then with the next inhale, lengthen, squeeze the block. Lengthen from the fingertips to the toe, neck is long, inhaling. And exhaling, keep squeezing the block. Inhaling. Exhaling, we're going to stay for one more breath. Inhale, get longer. And exhale, lower down. Release the arms. Make a pillow with the hands, rock the hips from side to side. I almost felt that more in my glutes and my legs than I did in my back and shoulders. So for everyone, it's going to be a little different. And just let your breath come back to neutral. Beautiful. Just bend your knees and rock your hips from side to side. So just let the legs flush a little bit. And we're going to clasp the hands behind the back now. Again, bringing the shoulder blades together. So straighten your legs, clasp your hands, bring your palms together if that works. And if you can't clasp your hands, use a strap. But see that your elbows aren't bent like mine are right now. See if you can straighten them. If you can't straighten them, use a strap and let the strap be wider apart. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Come into Shalabhasana. Can you get your leg as one, both your legs as one leg? And inhale, lift up. Lift up and lengthen. Press your pubic bone into the floor. So you're supporting your lower back. Neck is long, no wrinkles. And squeeze those shoulder blades together. Imagine you're punching your fist to the wall behind you. So you're really feeling your upper chest, your thoracic spine really engage. Really working all the muscles. Take one more breath here. Lift a little bit more, maybe. Exhale, slowly release. Make a little pillow with your hands. Rock your hips from side to side. And feel all the blood flushing back from the extremities into the body. Or from the body into the extremities, I should say. Beautiful. And then make your way into child's pose. So bending your knees, send your hips back. And rounding your spine after that back bend. And feeling your shoulder blades pull apart. Taking your arms along the sides of your body, if that feels good. And then take a few big breaths into the lungs, into the back of your body. Feel your belly press into your thighs. Feel your rib cage press into your thighs, and as well your back body widen. Should feel really good. Breathing is also an opportunity to stretch and move the body. Now, let's take the arms overhead. Let's come into downward dog. But as we come into downward dog, let's do that again as we did at the beginning by just lifting the knees off the floor. Press the hands deeply into the mat. Start to just lift the knees. Start to send the hips high. And come into this extension in the legs. Inhale your right leg, three-legged dog. Big step with your right foot to the inside of the right hand. And then with your right foot dialing out, already here, feel the stability in that right leg. Lift up into Anjaneyasana. Exhale, sink the arms into cactus, sink the elbows down. And see again that you're not slumping and collapsing into your lumbar spine. Find that activated pelvic tilt, stabilizing you as well. And then keeping the heart lifted, soften the jaw. And then we're going to take the right elbow underneath the left elbow, cross the hands around the spine. Pull those shoulder blades apart. Beautiful. Let's lift up. Keep the hands the way they are. Feel the shoulder blades come together a little bit as you open the heart. We're going to transfer the weight now into the right leg. Lean forward. Use your right foot as though it's a leverage to get you to stand on that right leg. Your left leg lifts up. Start to bend in your standing leg and wrap your left leg around your right leg, coming into Gomukhasana, legs and arms, and then set. Maybe your foot can hook. The more you bend your leg, the better your foot hooks. And if your foot doesn't hook, nobody cares. Right. And then maybe you can round your back, pull your shoulder blades apart, and bring your elbows and knees together. Soften the breath, soften the jaw. And then with the next inhale, we're going to open up in a big hip opening warrior one pose. Open up, slow motion. Take that left leg out to the left. 5, 4, bending the standing leg. 3, 2, start to step it back. 1, warrior one. Open up into warrior two. Beautiful. As you come into warrior two, see that your right knees pressing to the right. We're going to take the movement in the shoulders. Take your right palm open to the sky, your left hand down, look forward, and then as you look back, switch the arms. Your left palm opens. Your right palm opens. See that this movement is coming from the shoulders, not from the elbows or the wrists. The initiation comes from the shoulders. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, look back. One more, look forward. Send your right arm up and over. Feel a nice lateral stretch in the right side of your body. Inhaling. And exhaling. Sink into that front knee, maybe a little bit more. That front foot is dialing out. Feel the activation into the mat. Take one more breath here. And then come back into warrior two. Bring your hands in front of your heart. And we're going to come into skandasana. It means that we're straightening the front leg, pulling the toes off, taking the bend in the back leg, and that skandasana can be whatever depth it needs to be. Maybe it's a high skandasana. If you have to get low and take your heel off the mat, then come up higher. See that your foot learns to stay grounded. Your right leg is extended, flexed at the foot. And then we're going to come back into warrior two. Bend deep, open the arms. Exhale, come back into skandasana. Can you do this control? Engage in the legs. Inhale, lift back up, open up into warrior two. Sink into that front knee. And one last time. Sink back, skandasana. We're going to stay low like this, and we're going to bend in the front knee, turn the body so that the hands come to the mat right away. Beautiful. And we're going to set that right foot to the floor. So let that right knee drop, that left foot come to the left, coming into pigeon pose. But in this pigeon pose, we stay activated. We don't collapse here. So we want to get that front foot however far up it can go. And if it's bent a little bit more, that's fine too, right? See that your back foot is right on top of the knee and you're not like letting the heel roll. Actually, I will show it this way. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull the right hip back, the left hip forward. And you can use blocks here. If this feels like it's a little bit challenging, use blocks here to support your staying upright. And I'm squeezing to center, pulling my right hip back, my left hip forward. If you can come into this pose, have your hands on your hips. See that you're not falling into banana back and collapsing, but I'm engaging. I'm finding that gentle pelvic tilt, lifting up. If you want to take it further, the arms can be overhead. You can have them in prayer. Decide where you want your hands to be. And just keep holding and squeezing. We're doing this pose actively to strengthen the tissues at the joints. When we collapse, that's where injuries occur. Okay. Take one more breath here and exhale, slowly release down. Woo, and then slowly send your right leg back. And again, you can just pedal the legs out with the knees to the floor. You can pedal the legs out in downward dog. See what your body needs, what you can do, what it wants. At the same time, see that you're relaxing the head, the jaw, the shoulders. Downward dog. And let's lift the left leg, three-legged dog, get long through the body. Bend the knee, round the spine, pull the shoulder blades apart here. And then set the left foot to the inside of the left hand. Dial that left foot away from itself already. Feel how you're creating stability as you come all the way up. Open your arms and then drop into cactus. And again, find that gentle pelvic tilt. It might mean that back leg needs to be bent a little bit so that your pelvis really tilts. And then you straighten that back leg or you keep it bent. And then when your arms are in cactus, press your elbows forward, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Inhaling. And exhaling, can you press into your front knee? I mean, find your depth of this pose. Can you pull your left hip back a little bit more, your right hip forward? So really squaring your hips. You're dialing your left foot out. That's what's giving you the stability here. Let's take the left arm underneath the right arm. Inhale, lift the chest. So gentle back bend here. Feel the shoulder blades somewhat come together. And then controlled. Feel your core stabilize you as you round your spine. Round your spine, pull your shoulder blades apart. Chin to chest. Feeling both of your legs really strong and stabilizing you here. Inhale, lift back up. We're going to come to balancing on that left leg. So start to lean forward. I'm pressing off of my right leg to create the momentum so I can transition gracefully and slowly onto my left leg. Start to wrap that right leg. Maybe it just crosses. Again, it doesn't matter. It's all about balance here more than anything. And the more that you can bend into your standing leg, the more you can wrap your foot, if that's a goal. Okay, lift the heart, pause for a moment, and then slowly and controlled start to round the spine so that you're feeling your shoulder blades pull apart. Then find your breath to create that stability. Take one more breath here, one more exhale. We're going to open up slow motion to warrior two. So unwind, open the arms, open the leg. 5, 4, 3, slow motion, bend into the standing leg. 2, 1, gracefully open up, warrior two. And again, even here, I'm dialing both my feet away from one another, really feeling the stability, feeling my pelvic floor. Keep that stability. And the gaze to the front, take your left palm to the sky, and then switch arms to gaze to the back as your right arm lifts to the sky. And exhale, switch. See that this movement is coming from the shoulders, and the elbows and the wrists are following. Inhale, look back, and exhale, look forward. Sorry, whichever way. Inhale. If your breath is opposite mine, that's fine too. Take one more. And exhale. Beautiful. Take your left palm and reach it up and over. Find that nice lateral line from your hip to your armpit to your fingertips, leaning back. While you're leaning back, see that your left knee is always pressing to the left. So you're always turning muscles on. That's what's giving stability. That's what's building strength. Exhale, come back into warrior two. Hands in front of your heart. Skandasana, straighten that front leg. Bend your back leg. I might need to turn my toes out a little bit and sink deep. Stay here for a few breaths. I'm dialing my right knee out. If your heel comes off the floor, come up a little bit. Find your depth. And let's transition now to warrior two. Open the arms, sink deep into that left knee. And exhale, drop deep, bending that right knee. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling, one more. And one last time to the back. Stay low here. Take the hands to the floor. Bend into the front knee as you shimmy forward, squaring over your front leg. Left leg comes behind us, three-legged dog. And exhale, lower the foot to the floor. Let's stay here for 3 breaths. Can you feel strong here? Dial the hands away. Press into your hands. Send the sits bones high. The head be free. And can you pull your shoulder blades apart a little bit more? Can you find a protraction? Draw your navel in. And then gently let's
Wendy, you forgot the pigeon pose.
Thank you. Golly, we don't want to forget the pigeon pose on the other side. Thank you. Left leg lifts. You're my hero. Pull the knee to the nose. I appreciate that. Shoulders over the wrists and set the foot to the right side of the mat, the knee to the left side of the mat. That's why I have you guys. I couldn't do it on my own. Your right leg is long and strong. See that you're on top of the foot there. And use the blocks. Maybe this pose doesn't allow you to get much higher. So press into the blocks, use the blocks. But what we eventually want to do is we want to eventually get the arms and the hands parallel, so in alignment, so we're not leaning forward. And can you feel the shoulder blades somewhat come together at the back of the body? I'm pulling my left hip back, my right hip forward, and squeeze. Again, you might want to have the support pushing into your hands to help you. And we've got to build the muscle tissue up. And if it feels strong, maybe you can do it without the block, or even for part of it, squeezing the hips to center, the legs to center. It's a beautiful stretch, really strengthening all the tissues at the hip joints and all the tissues at the muscles underneath the glutes. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, slowly lower down. Oh yeah, we wouldn't want to forget that one because it's so powerful. Send your left leg back, pedal it off, pedal it out. Pedal it out, pedal it out. However you want to pedal it out. One knee on the floor, straighten the leg. But see that it feels flushed. You feel the energy flushing through the leg. Okay, and then we're going to come back into downward dog. 3 breaths here. Give the head a shake. Yes, no. See that there's freedom there. And dial your hands away from one another. See that there's a gentle bend in the knee. Don't hyperextend your legs. And see that you're not collapsing here either. We want to draw the navel in and feel a lot of stability along the spine. Take one more breath. And then we'll meet up in child's pose. Let your knees drop to the floor. Let your forehead drop to the floor. Let your hips sink back. Rock your hips from side to side. And then just take a moment just to feel the energy flushing through your body in a very positive way. And stay present in your body. Just notice, observe, be the witness of what feels different than when you came to the mat. Noticing your heartbeat, your breath, maybe your thoughts have completely quieted down. And then let's come back into downward dog. We're going to come into a chaturanga dandasana. So from downward dog, come forward into plank. Dial your hands away from one another. Feel the shoulder blades pull apart here, okay? It's protraction here. And then as you lower down, again, set your knees to the floor if that's what you prefer. We're going to lower down. Shoulders are pulling apart, pulling apart, pulling apart, until about halfway you start to feel them work towards one another. Either turn over both of your feet to come into upward dog, or rest all the way down on the floor to come into baby cobra. Doesn't matter what you choose. Feel your heart lifted, feel yourself pressing into the mat. Your pubic bone, your elbows driving back, and then send the hips back. Downward dog once again. Come forward once again. And we're going to rest all the way down onto the mat now. So do the same thing, reverse push up, feel the shoulder blades pull apart and then come together as you lower down. Beautiful. We're going to take the right arm out to the right, roll over onto the right side, just to work into the front of the chest, opening up the shoulder that way. Let your left leg float, doesn't matter where it is. If you may touch the floor, you could also bend both of your knees and keep your knees stacked, if that feels more aligned. Otherwise, this left hand is acting as leverage. The more it presses, the more rotation you get. So take some nice big breaths into that right shoulder, up down that arm, into that right chest, and then exhale, lower back down onto your belly. Switch sides. Left arm gets long as it reaches as far to the left as possible. Turn your head. Use your right hand and decide what you want to do with your right leg. Do you want to just bend it? Does it touch the floor? Does it float? Or you can bend both legs and pull them into your chest. And take a few big breaths here into that left side. Pectoid muscle, into the shoulder head, into the armpit, down the arm. And breathe into that part of your body. Let the breath stretch and open up that chest. The breath is so powerful, it really helps us to transform. Take one more big breath on that left side. And exhale, lower back down with your whole body onto the mat. And just pause for a moment. Maybe you want to make a pillow. Maybe you just want to take your arms along your body. We're going to come onto our back for the final part of the practice. And we're going to just roll the mat. I don't have enough room, so I'm rolling my mat in. Otherwise, you can lay off your mat at the top of your mat if you don't want to roll it in. We just want our arms to be able to slide on the floor a little bit easier. So just bring your knees into reverse table and take your arms into cactus. And with your arms into cactus, see that your shoulders and your elbows and the back of your hands can get onto the floor. Maybe they don't, but do your best. And then start to extend your arms so that your arms come into a Y. And then make your arms back into cactus arms. Maybe this is really easy for you. And then with your arms in cactus now, start to extend your fingertips so that the elbows are bent, but the fingertips touch overhead. This gets a little bit more challenging for me. Can you continue to press your lower back into the mat? And then exhale, bring the arms back into cactus. Take the arms into a Y. And bring the arms back into cactus. And then bring your elbows down, but keep the backs of your hands on the mat. Keep the lower back on the mat. So we're just finding, this is a lot of movements that you have in a physio when you have shoulder issues. And see that the shoulder head is healthy on this plane. And then we're going to take the arms back into a goal post, like in sports. See that your lower back is pressing into the mat. And then exhale, take the arms in reverse goal post. Can you get your hands close to the floor? And then inhale, take the back of the hands back to the mat, the shoulders back to the mat. And then one more time, bring the palms to the floor. It doesn't fully work for me. Maybe it works for you. Inhale and take the arms back. Beautiful. And then take the arms up and over, parallel to your ears. Set your feet to the floor. Dial your feet away from one another. And then start to lift your pelvis off the floor. Squeeze your glutes into center. Pressing into the upper cervical neck and spine. Thoracic spine. Get your neck nice and long here. Dialing your feet away from one another. Beautiful. Just reaching your arms up and over. And then slowly with your arms as levers, start to lower one vertebrae at a time back onto the mat as the arms go down, the spine comes down. Beautiful. And then pull the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little hug. Make some little circles. And then bringing your feet to the sky, coming into happy baby, taking your hands to the edges of the feet. Again, just feeling the space in your hips. And take a moment just to press your hands into your feet and use your hands to pull your feet back down. Make it active. So feel the muscles that are turning on. It probably feels really good. And you press your lower back into the mat and you get your neck longer. Just take 2 or 3 more breaths here, really active. So you feel your energy. One final breath. And then exhale, release the hands from the feet. Let the feet come down nice and slowly. Let the hands find their way beside the body. Unroll your mat if you have it rolled up. And then preparing for Shavasana. Get your feet as wide as they can go. Your arms up to the sides. And your head heavy. And just feel this expression as 100% surrendering. Let the whole weight of your body be surrendered into the mat, into the earth. Imagine Mother Nature holding you here. Her hands have you safely and securely held. And there's nothing that you need to do anymore. Each time you inhale, just feel the fullness and the power of your own breath. And each time you exhale, feel this letting go and softness in your body. Let your jaw relax. Let your eyes soften and the skin on your face release, release and relax. And let your breath come back to its natural state. Take a moment to come back to your intention. After planting that seed for what it was that is important to you, how you want to show up, feeling the energy in your body and how it aligns with that intention. Maybe that seed has sprouted and grown and even blossomed, bloomed, allowing you to show up fully in that expression. So I'm going to allow you to stay, or let you stay as long as you want to stay. And I encourage you to stay at least for 5 minutes. Make this be your one bonus of the day to just surrender and relax as long as you have time for. May you feel loving kindness. May you be happy and well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you continue to be healthy and safe and happy. I wish you a beautiful day. Namaste.